What's up, folks? Y'all missed StarCityGames.com SCG Core coverage? Well, Izzet MTG is covering all the SCGCONs, which is super awesome, even though they're not. And Nicole and I got to do coverage recently. This is a really awesome game played between David Nolan and Andrew Vorel in the top 8 of the event. It's modern. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Me and Nicole on coverage. If you like it, go support Izzet, who's doing some ridiculous guerrilla coverage right now, which is awesome. So check it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's freaking go.
Needed to
Just wait till Modern Horizons 3.
Oh, no.
We'll get a lot more words on there. So David's
the cards will fold.
David's in a good spot here, looking like a turn Ragavan's gonna get a hit and get that first shot, which is very, very important.
All right, we see Andrew starting off with a Triumph, which a little slower. Not going to be able to turn one bolt the Ragavan, so Ragavan does get in.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying about how polarizing Ragavan is on the draw here. That Triumph untaps, you can cast a Rand, you can cast a Bolt, whatever, but on the play, Ragavan, you don't have the answer immediately within the mana to do it. Things get a little awkward. And now, of course, David has the mana advantage, got the card advantage. We'll see if the snowball can go.
Yeah. It's a lot harder for Andrew to cast something like a Renin 6, take care of Ragavan, or something like that into 3 open mana, as it would be less than that. See Fire and Ice here on the side of Andrew, going to get counterspelled, so able to protect the monkey.
It's interesting though, because there only are so many counterspells in David's deck. So burning a counterspell here on the fire, the Ragavan will hit, but if Andrew untaps and plays, a Dryad or a Wren, then that one resolve and get countered also. So, Ragavan doesn't kill that fast. It does produce a lot of advantage, but it does give your opponent time to find an answer to kill it.
Maybe David's plan is just to exile all the Valakits in Andrew's deck.
That is a valid plan. Honestly, it's a side effect of Ragavan that's kind of cute. Is that if you're playing a combo deck with 1 or 2 pieces in it, and the Ragavan happens to hit it, that could be a win condition in and of itself.
We see Ragavan just hitting his steam vents that time around, though, so nothing as exciting.
This is a big spot. David gets to play a land here, but does David have the answer to the next thing Andrew's going to do?
We'll see David fetching up off of that flooded strand. Gonna drop down to 17, 18. So a basic coming up here on David's side. Andrew just sits and watches.
So basic island here might be a little bit of a tell. This is a closed decklist tournament. I'm not sure if decklists are open in top 8. I don't think they are. But of course, second island here, when the life total doesn't matter that much for David. It matters a little bit, but it could be kind of a Blood Moon. Hey, I've got Blood Moon maybe either in hand or at least available at some point.
Right. And we see the Murktide coming on down.
So this is a pretty good draw for David.
Yeah, only getting 1 counter on it for now. So not the biggest Murktide ever, but definitely increases the clock by quite a bit. As you said, Ragavan, not as quick to kill as it is to disrupt. And we'll see the path is clear, though, for Renin 6 on Andrew's side to take care of that Ragavan.
Yeah, and that Murktide is really, really huge because, like I was saying, if that Ragavan's dealt with, then what? But now David has a threat in play at least. This can attack the Ragavan, kind of get things going here. It's a 4/4. It can't really kill with a bolt. So this thing's looking pretty good for David here. A decent clock in play, Planeswalker dealt with, and then a decent amount of cards in hand too.
Right. Renin 6, I imagine one of the ways for Andrew to get that card advantage to kind of build a board and needing just to play it to kill Ragavan. So a second one we see here coming down on Andrew's side, but just kind of needing to play it as a 2-mana removal spell, like kill target Ragavan.
Yeah, I love the wherewithal from David here. There are remands in Andrew's deck. And one card you don't want to get remanded is Murktide Regent. You dump your whole graveyard to cast it, and it goes back to your hand. You can't cast it again. So I really love David's choice here to kind of be really aggressive here. Just get this Murktide out. I don't care it's a 4/4. Just get it on the board so I can kind of keep my draw go plan and say go if things go wrong Ragavan. So I like to play a lot. David's playing a good game here.
Yes. So shields were down for Andrew. Andrew was tapped out. And we see a growth spiral here. We see a basic island also on Andrew's side. So Andrew possibly also playing around that Blood Moon.
Yeah, he's ready to go. He has the island in the forest. So if Blood Moon does come down, spells are still castable and still has an avenue out.
So definitely a good look ahead. Whether or not David has the Blood Moon is another question. We'll see a consider from David's side. Looking at the top card, that's going to hit the Bin of Dragon Rage Channeler and going to draw a Ledger Shredder, it looks like. So it looks like a Ledger Shredder and another Murktide in hand for David. So some follow-up threats here possible on David's side if they feel like they need to put the pressure on a little more.
Yeah, and the power of the second Murktide to grow the first Murktide is really, really huge here for closing this game out. So, David's graveyard starting to grow again. Ren comes down, but, getting a land at this point. Now Andrew's behind on board, only, a little over equal on mana, and still looking for an answer for the Murktide.
So do you think David can be a little more aggressive with the casting of this second Murktide, where they can just cast it, and if it does get something like remanded, it still grows the first one?
That is a benefit, yeah.
So maybe a little more haphazard, as they only have, it's 3 lands, a Murktide and a Ledger Shredder in hand on the side of David.
Yeah, interesting there. Andrew chose to plus the rent and get a land back. Looks like Andrew has a Lightning Bolt in hand. So could have maybe gone for the -1 and then finish off the Murktide with a Bolt, although very risky against a counterspell because you lose everything there. So Andrew's saying, okay, you know what? I want this land. It's more important. I want to keep playing. You can kill my Ren, but I made a land drop here, and I can kind of keep playing this game.
Well, this is the 3rd Ren we've seen hit the battlefield. Andrew trying to get at least some value off of the cards that they're playing before they have been taken down by the Murktide three turns in a row.
And it's important to remember also that even though we saw game 1, Andrew's deck play a great fair game, Andrew's deck is still a Scapeshift deck. There is still a 4-mana sorcery in Andrew's deck that says you win the game if you resolve this with 7 lands in play. So, now with things being a little less good for Andrew, might need to go for that Hail Mary and build towards that.
Right. So are continuously playing out these Ren 6s and not trying to clear David's board, but just trying to maybe distract David from attacking Andrew's actual life total, Andrew at 14. Are they just trying to buy themselves some time this game around, as we saw David do in game number 1?
Yeah, kind of just deal with this, deal with that, deal with this, deal with that. But we see David getting very aggressive here, which I think is the right thing to do.
Right. No damnations in Izzet Murktide, right?
I mean,
in Scapeshift, excuse me.
Could cast it off of the of a Dryad.
Dryad.
That would be quite the shock, I imagine.
I'm sure someone out there has done it.
I mean, probably.
We see the remand actually in Andrew's hand here as well, the top card. So looks like thinking about it.
I couldn't imagine not remanding this Murktide. I don't know what you'd be looking for at that point.
It's like a Bolt on the Ledger Shredder to start things off, so as not to allow the connive, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, the connive will still happen, but it won't grow, obviously. So,
I meant Bolts then remand, so that it's already dead.
Before
you remand.
You're correct. So it's 2 spells for Andrew. Correct.
Right.
So good thing for Andrew.
Yes. Looks like David was still able to connive because they cast the Ledger Shredder into the Murktide.
Correct.
So they're still able to, but before that connive resolved, Andrew bolted and then remanded.
Correct.
So
good thing for Andrew. And now things, David's kind of just pedal to the metal here, which makes a lot of sense. But Andrew is sort of, dodging and weaving, kind of staying alive here, still at 13. Murktide grew a little bit, and now I like David's play here a lot. Going for the face, recognize this game's got to end.
Right.
We can't keep, Ren's basically irrelevant. Let's just end this game.
You get to keep your Ren in 6 this time. So it looks like Ren gonna go right up and get a land, and getting close to that 7 lands here. Up to 5. Yeah, I was like, I think he just went up 2 instead of 1. So, but up to 5 goes Ren, Misty Rainforest, the target, and the play. But nothing but that.
Now, one important thing to note also is that because of how Scapeshift works, you cast it for 4 mana with 7 mana up. And other mana can be used for counter spells, perhaps a Veil of Summer, remand. So you can defend your Scapeshift pretty well also. So feels like Andrew's building up to that big turn, and it's going to be a lot of pressure on David to actually stop what's happening here.
As we see expressive iteration here on David's side. Taking a look at the top 3, I believe it is a Spell Pierce.
Yeah, honestly, it's funny. I think Lightning Bolt is the card that David's really looking for here. Probably not in the deck anymore, but like a Lightning Bolt and another Murktide maybe. Just try to exile it, grow that Murktide, finish this game off. Because this game, I think if Andrew sees another turn, we might see a Scapeshift combo kill.
Yeah, we see expressive iteration exiled off of the expressive iteration, so giving another shot because it didn't look like any lands off of that. Whether or not David needs the land is another question, but debating on whether to cast this second expressive iteration right now.
Yeah, I mean, a path here also is just put enough spells in your graveyard that the next Murktide will grow the first Murktide to 8 and win the game.
Right.
So
It's not a bad path.
Yeah, I like David's choice here. David is sort of like recognizing it like there are 5 cards in Andrew's hand. Andrew's probably building towards Scapeshift plus some sort of backup. So David's like, well, what's more likely, me having 2 counter spells up to deal with your multiple threats, or maybe even 3, or me just possibly killing you this turn, and or over the last 2 turns. So I like David's plays here a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but David could also know that if Andrew just goes for Scapeshift next turn, plays land, goes for Scapeshift, maybe David doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew's rolled up here. I think Andrew's got both Scapeshift and a few good things to go with it as well. So
some goodies in Andrew's hand.
Yeah, Veil of Summer. We can't see the hands, but
they're keeping them secret.
Yeah, Veil of Summer, Remand, whatever else it might be. And David, we've got a little bit of perhaps confusion here. Very, very pivotal turn of the game.
Right. So we see the land get played here from David's hand. So and a blue tap to consider. We see Spell Pierce and Spell Piercing their own consider.
Okay, so go for the kill.
Yes.
This is the consider could obviously hit a spell to put in the graveyard, so you wouldn't need to Spell Pierce it, but David wants the sure thing. So now with consider, Spell Pierce, and Narration all in the graveyard.
And Veil of Summer. We see a Veil of Summer from Andrew's side. Just to draw a card.
Yeah, it looks like it. All right, so Andrew was all rolled up. These Veils just turned into cantrips.
Veil of Summer. And it looked like 2 lands. It looked like a mountain and a misty rainforest off of that. A third Veil of Summer.
3?
Do we got quads?
All right.
There's the Dryad of the Elysian Grove being drawn there, but Murktide gonna grow.
Highway robbery from David here.
Wow. Very well played.
Yeah, that was a great recognition. I can't talk. I'm sure David can talk. David's smart.
David doesn't have to talk. David can play.
That's true. Of the game state there, recognizing that, I can't be the counter spell deck I want to be here. I've got to just be a beatdown deck because, A, you got to close the game out, and then B, Andrew's got cards in hand. Andrew's been rolling up this whole time, kind of shucking and jiving, trying to buy some time. What's Andrew buying time for? Probably has all the answers. And we saw there 3 Veil of Summers. So there was no way that Scapeshift was not resolving. It had to be 4 counter spells to counter the Scapeshift and all 3 Veil of Summers. So great play by David. Excellent job playing to the exact amount of damage needed to be dealt. Awesome game.